All right. Welcome to the inaugural first Chesapeake chat session. I am Victoria Malvica, and I'm a first Chesapeake alumni, and I will be helping to introduce the first Chesapeake chat sponsored by Newport News. I would like to thank this session sponsor Sam for making this chat possible. Just some housekeeping. We will let the speakers present and then open up for discussions as we go on. This session today is learning something new, how to help in the community. I will now pass it over to Ron to welcome the session.
Okay, so if everybody can kind of mute their mics while we go. Matt, if you can go ahead to the next, to open it up for everybody. I'd just like to, welcome everybody to the session. I'm Ron Therrien, work for First Chesapeake as the Director of Programs right now, and I just we've been talking a lot with a lot of folks around about things that they're doing for the community and so on. So how we're going to run the session is we'll have each one of the people presenting will have 5 minutes to talk, 3 to 5 minutes to talk about what it is they're doing, and then we'll do questions at the end. So if you can put in questions anytime you want, but we'll take questions at the end after everybody's gotten to talk about what they're doing. So let me go ahead and start. How about if I start with you, Prasad? You
Sure.
can talk to us.
All right, let me just get this. I don't think I can share my slides, so I'm a little, I'm going to just talk with what I have. Is that okay? All right, so my name is Prasad Karunakaran. I'm one of the mentors for Team 5945 Absolute Control. Besides that, I'm also the first senior mentor for Maryland. I work with Ron on the FRC side, FRC on the Maryland side, and with the FLL and FTC partners on the Maryland side. But I've been working with Team 5945 on a couple of projects while this whole thing came up, and our teams sort of got disconnected because we weren't meeting. So we decided to get together with doing some projects for the community. So initially it started with doing the Prusa face shields, which Prusa was putting out there, and we teamed up with, or not teamed up, I should say, OpenWorks, which is a Baltimore makerspace, put out a request to crowdsource to make these frames, which takes about 3 to 4 hours. So we jumped on that and we started making it, and then it became really big. So we realized, okay, there's a lot of people to help them with it. But I started posting this on our local Facebook groups, and local community doctors and nurses started reaching out to me. So what we did is we've done enough for OpenWorks. So now what we're doing is we're printing more for the local doctors, and I've got about 40 or 50 requests. Requests for about 40 or 50 frames totally between doctors, VA, one of the VA ERs, and a local assisted living. So we've been doing the NIH approved model. We didn't want to do anything besides that because it's been tested. We just print. We got about 4 or 5 printers deployed, which is just printing 24/7. And I got the shields and the face shields and the rubber bands, and I'm just putting it in packets and just giving it off to them. So that's one thing that we've been doing. So the kids are doing the printing, I'm doing the assembly and giving it to them. The other thing that we're doing is we live in a community where there's a lot of business, or our center is in a community where there's a lot of business, local businesses, restaurants. Some of them are really mom and pop shops, and they don't have online menus for them. So there is an app called Glide app where you can quickly put together an online app for them, or using Google Sheets. So these restaurant owners just gave us their menu in basically a text message. I put it up for them in a Google Sheet and put this app together. It was essentially an hour setup and it's basically browser based, but it looks like a web app when you put the icon on your phone. So we didn't have to create two different ones for Android and iPhone. iOS, it just opens it up in the browser and you just save it as a icon. So what they can do is we've set it up in such a way that all they have to do is take a photo of the daily specials, and whatever change they have to do, just upload it to a Google Drive and change the the title or whatever the item is, and it automatically gets updated. So that's one thing we're doing. We're trying to do it for other restaurants in the community who are having trouble trying to update their websites. So we wanted to do something not just for healthcare workers. It's also impacted some of these organizations. And the third thing, what we're doing is, actually third and fourth, is we are, there's an assisted living in our community where there are people who specifically for Alzheimer's care. So our students are actually creating these cards for them. We're getting it printed with the local printer. That way we can support the local printer, and then we're going to deliver it to the assisted living. So the kids who are part of our business, artistic kids, are drawing these things, and they're coming up with motivational, I guess, messages, and we'll end up printing it out for them and sending it to them. And we are also doing something for the healthcare worker side. We are still in design stage. It can be used for healthcare workers or even curbside delivery for these restaurants. Is a isolation booth. We kind of saw a video of how they were doing it in Korea. So we're trying to model it, design it using Home Depot or Lowe's materials. There are still some gaps, but we are working. Our students are meeting. They're having subgroups, just like how when a game is announced, they'll get together and they'll design and come up with designs, and we'll chat, figure out how to do it. So we've got some CAD drawings for it, but it's not out there for prime time right now. Based on our initial assessment, it's something that'll cost about $250. But that's about what we're doing. We're also looking at some other. Trying to work, the software kids work with the New York SWAT team. That hasn't come out, but we're having meetings, side chats with the teams through Zoom. So I hope I didn't go over my time, but that's about as a team.
Yeah, okay. We'll move on real quick. Paul, why don't you go?
Okay. Hey, good afternoon. So Paul Lathrop with Convergent 7429. So I'm actually basically going to do a quick overview, and then I'm going to turn it over to Doc Davies right there. So immediately when this came out, we talked about different ways we can get involved. So we've talked about the MAS, we've talked about the MIT ventilator project. We've talked about a couple different ways to go out and about and everything with it. We originally had students and everything working with us in terms of the MIT project, and we kind of got a little met with some comments and everything with that. But really what we're looking at with that, and what we used it for with those students, was really just a matter of reverse engineering a problem, right? So just like with FIRST, we're given a problem and we've got to come up with a solution for it. Whether or not this ventilator ever sees the light of day other than a garage or a workshop is one thing, but just being able to go through the motions, learning more about the biomedical field and how these different pieces and parts all kind of come together. And overall, just being able to design virtually. The students haven't been able, obviously, to get into any of the workshops that we've been a part of with Build RVA. So just really being able to kind of cross that barrier, which is something even when it snows that teams are trying to have to go about and look at. So we're really excited about kind of what we've seen from it. Build RVA just had a nice little write-up at the Richmond Times-Dispatch. I'll throw that in the comments here in a second. And then one thing that is really applicable for all teams, and again, I'm going to shoot it over to Doc here in a second, is that there's actually a challenge right now for groups of individuals to work on different solutions for different projects and everything in terms of COVID-19. I guess I shouldn't really be shocked, because it's one of those things that as a teacher, I can give my students all this workload and everything in this kind of weird time. And I see some of them do it. I don't see some of the others do it. But when we were talking about, a ventilator project, we're still getting students that are, hey, what can I do? Or, hey, can I go CAD this? Or can I go program this? Like, where are some resources I can be bigger and better for next year? So I'm really excited to see what the kids come up with as a whole in terms of just different ways to, stay engaged in everything with the FIRST community. So, Doc, can you tell us a little bit more?
Neuroscientist. I'm now co-director of the Chesterfield County Makerspace located at Elsie Bird High School. I'm also on the board of directors for Build RVA that you heard Paul mention before. Since all the school stuff here is absolutely closed down, I've come up to Build and I'm basically spending my time here. I'm working on 4 projects up here basically. The initial one and the very most basic one is we are actually making these face shields, which are in very high demand by medical practitioners and healthcare. It's a very simple design. The piece you see here is laser cut out of PETG. We hot glue a foam barrier here, put a little bungee cord, and the people have a mask. We can't make these fast enough. We have all the materials, we have all the shields, we have the foam, but we can't get enough people in to make these things, and the demand is just overwhelming. So that's one of the things we're doing. We also working on another group. We're kind of doing a 3D printed one. I mean, there are a whole variety of these things. The other project that we're working on are the N95 masks you may have heard about that are in high demand. I mean, the situation is so desperate now that hospitals are actually taking them out of the garbage and re-sterilizing them, just to let you know how bad things are. And the problem is we haven't even hit the peak yet. So there's a group along with Build RVA, RVA makers that I'm working with that has women and people all throughout RVA sewing these things and turning them in. We're trying to make it a little high tech. We found a polymer paper that actually has a better filtration rate than the mask itself, and we're making a design. We're trying to have that come out. The third thing that we're working on is several of the hospitals here have asked us to create a plexiglass box, which many of you would look exactly like the judge's box for FTC, almost the same size, but it only has 4 sides and it has 2 holes. So the anesthetist can stand at the person that they're going to intubate, stand at their head, they put their hands through, somebody hands them the instruments, and they intubate somebody who needs that for ventilation. We're making those out of polycarb and distributing to the hospitals. It's a very neat, very easy little project, and I not make them fast enough. It's amazing. The last project that we're working on here is what Paul mentioned. We're doing the event project because Build RVA is actually an independent and an adult makerspace. We have access to an incredible variety of both makers with talented skills, engineers, physicians, therapists. And so we're taking on the MIT challenge. We're developing a model based on theirs. We're making improvements to it. And as Paul said, there's actually a competition going on that teams can sign up for. The end result is a $10,000 prize where they design these things and then submit the designs. If the designs are the ones that are picked in the final stages, then people work with actual clinicians and representatives directly from the FDA to get these things approved and made. Because the demand for respirators is just, once again, it's just overwhelming. So that's pretty much what we're doing here. That takes up my full day-to-day time. That's it.
All right, Dave, why don't you go ahead and talk?
Sure. I'm Dave Albert. I work with Atholton High School's Team 2537, the Space Raiders. And we've been working on 2 things primarily. I want to echo Doc Davies that the demand for shields and masks is overwhelming. We've been working with 2 local hospitals, the St. Agnes, the Ascension chain of hospitals, and Howard County General. And both of them want far more than we can possibly make. So I'm with you, and I'd like to ask Doc as well if you can share any designs. I think we should all be sharing materials, designs, whatever we're using that makes things easier. So we've been focused on face shields and on face masks. So some of the kids have 3D printers at home, and we asked them to design a face shield we're working with doctors who review it and they give us feedback and refine it. I'm going to try to share my screen. I'm not sure if this is going to work. Sorry, bear with me for just a minute. So hopefully you can see my screen now. So is my screen visible showing face shields?
No, it's not up yet.
Okay. Okay, one more time and I'll give up after that. I'll send the link. It looks like it won't let you share on the same browser. That's unfortunate. Does this work?
Yeah, there it is.
Okay. Can you hear me still?
Yep.
Okay. So we asked the kids to develop a face shield. It went through a number of revisions. This is 3D printed. On an Ender 3, you can print 3 at a time. It uses a Velcro strap. We've been adding a foam cushion for the forehead because the clinicians indicated that comfort was an issue with a lot of these. And the design uses, you can use clear vinyl sheet. You can buy those at Home Depot and many online sources. It's very inexpensive. You can cut it to size, or you can buy standard overhead transparency films and 3-hole punch them. So it mounts via 3 holes that are standard 3-hole punch spacing, and there are clips at the side to secure it on the ends. There are other designs that we like and have advocated that other people who maybe don't want to do this can use. And the other approach is the one that Doc Davies was showing, where you use one of the clear materials and either hot glue weather stripping or self-adhesive weather stripping, and you attach it on the sides with staples. So I'm trying to go back, and let's see if it'll let me go back. And we're focused on that. We looked at other things, but the demand from the hospitals was overwhelming. St. Agnes said they need at least 3,000 of them. They were hoping we could supply 1,000. I don't think we'll be able to supply 1,000, but we're just going to keep making them as quickly as we can. I think there are other projects that could be worth doing once the commercial supply of face shields catches up. But the face shields and the masks are the overwhelming problem right now. I will mention for folks who are 3D printing, some of the feedback we got was that a lot of the designs have an open space at the visor, and that they're concerned about that because aerosolized droplets will come in the top. So our original design had a ventilated visor, and we closed that off later based on feedback from the clinicians. So that's all I've got.
The other part I would add, just because I've actually seen it online, is you know, they actually brought back like 100 workers at one of the Ford plants, and they're making one of those with the foam pieces like Doc had there. I believe they're stapling those pieces on, as well as that they're like double sticky, and then they're doing staples or something in them. But it's a very similar thing, and they're producing like 1,500 of them in a day. That's their goal. So they're using them obviously in Michigan at hospitals there, but
yeah,
it goes to show you they're good designs because there's a lot of people using them.
We're experimenting with a design that uses, you know, the clear plastic strip. It's kind of a very tacky plastic that sticks things, everything sticks to it.
Yes.
We're experimenting with a band of that across the visor, so you can just stick the clear shield on, peel it off when you're done, change your gloves, and put a new one on.
Put a new one on.
But that's still in process. So the design we have works well. It is easy and cheap to change the shields. So the headband stays reusable, and the shields are easily replaced. They cost about $10 each.
Wow, pretty cheap.
And similarly, we've encouraged the kids to use CAD. So they use Onshape, which is an online CAD tool, and CAD'd out the designs. We worked on strengths, we worked on shapes, we worked on supports, and it was a good experience for them.
Does anybody out there have any questions that's watching for any of these guys? I'm sure that all the projects everybody's working on, they're more than happy to share with you, because obviously this stuff is in high demand at this point.
Yeah, Paul and Doc, if you guys have your have a website where your materials and stuff are posted, I'd love to see that.
I'll get in touch with you at some point. We can talk. Yeah.
Appreciate it. I'll share the 2537 site here.
There is a question out there now that says, what is the adhesive being used for the polycarbonate boxes?
We're solvent welding them at the moment, and depending upon how it goes, we may reinforce it. But what we're basically going to do is to make a C shape by bending the polycarb. We specifically sourced polycarbonate that forms, and then we just glue the back sheet on that has the holes for the hands.
How thick is that is the polycarb sheet you're using?
1/4 inch. We figured that we wanted to be safe, really safe.
Right, but workable.
True. We can machine all that, so.
Somebody here has a good comment out there. It says that we'd love to copy some projects. I have a community full of kids who are tired of looking into microscopes. So I guess if we share all those links out there, they'll be able to do that, as well as contact any of you guys also, right? You guys are all willing to.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So if we have any other questions? I guess while we're waiting for questions, anybody else have any other project or anything else you want to talk about? Here's a good question that just came in. Is there a demand for robot door delivery?
We haven't had it.
I mean, I've heard of projects that are going on out there that some folks that are looking at doing that for some of the restaurant deliveries. But
Now, I did read one report. I'm on 3 different groups. One, which is like a COVID for Richmond. One is a COVID for the USA, and one's a COVID for the world. And there were some comments about people asking if robots could be built that could go into infected areas and disinfect them without sending people in through some sort of vaporization method or whatever. But it was just a sort of a flyby thing.
And that's kind of how you get into those things with like the booth or whatever. You can protect the person, yourself from the person, but then somebody's got to go in there and clean it afterwards. And it'd be nice to have a mechanism to do some things like that without exposing. Seems like more and more doctors and nurses and stuff are being exposed.
There's a DIY project that uses UVC lamps to sterilize fairly quickly. It might be interesting to combine the booth with the UVC sterilization.
Yeah, it certainly would. Because that, for other things, that works. I didn't know if it'd work on the virus.
So other things that are going on. Can I share screen one more time?
Sure. I got one more question that just came in because it relates to the ventilators. They're just asking. The news said that many ventilators do not work. Is there anything that first teams may provide to them? And I don't know, if you guys have been following that, but the government let the maintenance contracts run out on the ones that were in storage, and apparently they shipped them out without even testing them. And so a lot of the hospitals are receiving broken ones. I don't know if anybody wants to take that or if we even really can.
Yeah, this happened in California, right? A lot. I think the whole box.
Yesterday it came out, there were like 5 or 6 states, the ones that got shipped to them, like 10% of them don't even turn on.
Yeah, I saw that at LA. They ended up sending it to Silicon Valley. Somebody fixed it and sent it back rather than returning it.
Yeah, that's beyond us.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought too. It's like, those are pretty complicated machines, and it's not like we, have taken one apart to figure it out.
I can tell you that I've heard from one of our members here, Paul Rohde, that the government has actually gone into all the community colleges and every type of facility that teaches respiratory technologies, and they have taken all their teaching respirators out to take them to hospitals.
Oh, wow.
And they've also found that those are kind of in bad shape.
Yeah.
So something that I've tried right now, I don't know whether it'll work. Through someone else, I've tried to reach out to the Howard County Board of Ed, because the schools have a lot of printers. I know the schools are closed, and we're trying to see if we can use it. I don't even know whether it'll be successful, but that's something that we're trying.
Yeah, I can take that one. So currently, Doc and I are kind of waiting on a handful of parts that I just can't go and get from my lab. It's one of those that I'm in communication with them just about every day in terms of what that particular day looks like. We have had some luck that they're like, hey, when you can get in, maybe we can let you borrow a 3D printer or something like that to be able to use. But they're very much of the mindset that it's 10 people in those buildings, and that's counting anyone and everyone from staff to everybody. So it's just a matter of, being safe with it and making it happen in terms of that. But yeah, that's Doc and I have this running joke. It feels like every night when we talk about what parts we need, it's, oh yeah, we have that at this high school or that high school, and then except we can't get in there. So it's pretty wild.
So what? One last question, I guess, and then we'll kind of close this out. But somebody had asked specifically for your thing. Is there a place that they can? It's up on our screen there now. Is a place you can get a look at your current ventilator efforts.
Please feel free to get in touch with me. There are 5 of them out there. I can show you the one that we're actually building. I got the most information, but just get directly in touch with me. I can give you an email address to have people email.
How do you want people to contact you?
I can put my email address in the comments down here.
Okay.
Doc, what did you make of the comment in the Chesapeake Mentors group about the concerns about homemade ventilator design?
Let me have this one.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
We got to wrap it up quickly because we don't have much time left here.
Yeah. So again, like kind of how I started off. I can understand the concern and everything with students working on ventilator projects. Obviously, ventilators are very important. Obviously, they can be very dangerous if they're not done the right way. If nothing else, just being in those conversations and learning from them and kind of being part of that re-engineering design, I think is a very worthwhile opportunity for students. That's what I would say. Okay.
I guess to kind of wrap this up, and we'll close it out, is I'd just like to thank all you guys for coming on here, and I'm sure people will probably want to contact all of you at some point here. I know this is a hot topic online. I've even participated with some of you guys online, and that's why I thought it was a good session to have. So thanks for coming on. Victoria, go ahead and take it away.
Sorry. I just want to, again, thank you all for joining us today and thank our sponsor, Canon, and enjoy the rest of your day.